welcome back to the Chaotic Little Book Corner. My name is Acacia. Today, we're going to be doing a book review on Our Endless Numbered Days by Claire Fuller. I'm not going to do a spoiler one. I really don't think that that's necessary, even though I want to, because I want to talk about this so much. But let's just begin. So, Our Endless Numbered Days begins with Peggy. Peggy is a young girl, I believe she's about 8 or 9, and she's living in a home in London where she is pretty happy. She's growing up in a normal environment, except for one thing. Her father has a group of friends who tend to talk and discuss what will happen when the apocalypse comes and how they are supposed to prep for it. She has grown up her entire life overhearing this, and her mother tries so hard to try and keep her from this, but it's still a little bit of a moot point. In the beginning of the book, her mother decides that she is going off to tour, as she is a pianist, and she is going to go on another tour throughout the countryside, and she leaves Peggy at home with her husband and Peggy's father. Peggy's father is a little mentally unstable from the beginning, but he has an American friend who just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing him until he finally pushes him over the deep end when her father takes her into the woods to Diehat, which I believe is in Germany, and explains to Peggy, "You've seen everybody. The world is going to end. It's done." The story takes off from there. You jump back and forth between Peggy current day and back to when she was in Diehat. You do not have any qualms about the fact that she does survive, and when she does survive, she comes home. The first beginning chapter, you find out that Peggy has just come home and she has been released from a hospital where she was helped, and she comes home to find out that everything's changed, and her whole world is different now. She doesn't feel home anymore when she's at her own house. She doesn't feel like she knows what to do, and she really misses her father. It's a very sad, touching story, but at the same time, I think it really is a profound way of kind of addressing what can happen when a family member suffers grief, loss, and some mental instability. The fact of the matter is there's a bunch of different things that you find out along the way that caused the father to kind of lose his mind, and there are some terrible things that the father does that I really don't approve of and that I really wish had not happened. And the question remains, would somebody do this if they were sane, or would they have done it just because of the insanity? I have myself got so many questions about what a person is capable of and what the person becomes capable of when they're pushed over the edge into the world of insanity. My thing is definitely that if you are... My therapist and I have talked about this. If you decide to go out into the world and shoot up a school, God forbid anyone does that, you made that choice. Regardless of your diagnosis, regardless of anything like that, you made that choice, and you have to live with it for the rest of your life. There are things that we could do to help people avoid getting to that point, but the fact of the matter is that person did make that choice. Not everybody who's mentally unstable goes out and makes bad decisions, which is one of the reasons that this book is such a profound and important book and such a piece of good literature that definitely raises a lot of questions and conversations about that kind of feeling. Peggy is definitely conflicted deep inside of herself as to whether or not she's supposed to love, hate, or be indifferent to her father. She feels very alone and abandoned by her mother. She's confused, she's conflicted, and she feels so many different things that her age, a child, should not have to deal with. Her mother is a little bit distant in the book when she finally comes home, but that's understandable, and they do finally work things out, which, again, is really not a spoiler. It's just kind of what it is. Her mother really loves her, and she is very German, so she's very withheld on her emotions. Maybe that's not a German thing, I don't know. But her mother is a little withheld on her emotions, but you can tell her mother loves her very much, and she tries very hard to protect her. Peggy is called Puns by her father. He's given her the nickname of Rapunzel to be locked up in a tower, quote unquote, where nobody can reach her. And he is then compared to the evil witch in Rapunzel, which is quite an interesting little parallel I found in this book. I found the writing absolutely stunning. I could turn to any page and feel good about it. As the food came back to us, so did the music. As though the fish and the squirrels and the green buds of spring nourished not only by our bodies, but our minds too. I read La Campella like a book. I couldn't put it down. One that in the end I was able to recite by heart. Peggy's words are very haunting and very sweet. You can definitely tell that she still has a little bit of innocence left inside of her, that she's trying to protect herself. She becomes very self-aware and also very self-reliant. The twist at the end absolutely blew my mind, and it felt so wonderful, and it was such an accurate depiction, I think, in my opinion, of what would happen to anybody in this situation. I really appreciate what this book is. I appreciate what this book does, and I think anyone who likes a good retelling, or, well, let me rephrase that, a good fairy tale element kind of book would love this. I think if you like Room, you would like this. It's a little bit different from Room, but it's still pretty similar. Peggy is very much trusting of her father, and that is a huge issue for her in this situation, is that she gives her father all the power and believes him. And at 8 years old, any child would do that. So there you have it, folks. That is my review for Our Endless Numbered Days by Claire Fuller. My name is Acacia. I gave that book 5 out of 5 stars. It absolutely broke me. I cried for an hour afterwards, and then I tried to gobble up all the 150-page books that I could get my hands on after just to keep reading. I absolutely recommend it to anyone. I will tell you there are some trigger warnings in there, so be aware. Don't try and push yourself. It took me a little while to get into it, but once I did, I absolutely loved it, and I will reread it now that I know a little bit more about it to kind of keep myself going in the beginning, because I feel like I missed some things. And I do think that that book is one that as I reread it, I will find more little bits and pieces and bits and bobs throughout the entire thing. Again, I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm super excited to continue. Bye, guys.